Have you ever wondered where the material comes from that turns a simple handbag into a collector's piece valued at tens of thousands of dollars? What kind of industrial process, hidden behind steel doors and security cameras, is capable of transforming a raw material that is completely off-limits to the average person into the most coveted luxury item on the planet? Today, you are going to enter a place that almost no one has access to. A facility in the United States where the rarest, most impressive and most controversial leather in the world is turned into outrageously priced handbags for a clientele that never asks about the price because they simply don't need to. This is not a video about fashion. This is a deep dive into the behind the scenes of an industry that operates at the limits of what the imagination can conceive, where every single piece produced represents hours of specialized labor, millimeter precision machinery, and artisanal knowledge passed down through generations of technicians who never speak to the press. The factory exists, the process is real, and you are about to see all of it. The first thing that strikes you when you enter the facility is the silence. Not the empty silence of an abandoned warehouse, but that dense, controlled silence that defines high-security industrial environments where every sound is calibrated and every movement follows a strict protocol. Workers move in orderly rows through corridors lit with cold white light, wearing red uniforms that contrast sharply against the immaculate white epoxy floors. Temperature is regulated with laboratory precision. The air smells like an indefinable compound that blends tanning chemicals, natural oils, and something deeper, something more animal, that permanently settles into the olfactory memory of anyone who visits. This is the starting point of a production chain that transforms raw matter into pure luxury, and that you, for the very first time, are going to be able to follow from beginning to end. Nobody talks about this industry in the mainstream media. The manufacturers of the world's most exclusive handbags do not organize open house events or publish technical catalogs about their processes. What happens inside these facilities has remained out of reach of the general public for decades, protected by non-disclosure agreements, exclusivity contracts, and a corporate culture that values mystery above everything else. Because mystery in the luxury industry is worth just as much as the product itself, sometimes more. A handbag is not sold solely for what it is, but for everything that is not known about how it was made. And yet, here we are, inside, with access to every stage of the process, with the camera rolling in areas where normally no one enters without a seven-figure contract signed. Before we continue, if this kind of content hits you as hard as it hit us while filming it, drop a comment right now with what has surprised you the most so far. Every comment you write signals to the algorithm that this channel deserves visibility, and that allows us to keep producing revelations like this one. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, because what comes next is exactly the kind of content this channel publishes every single week, and that you will not find anywhere else. The first phase of the process takes place in what technicians internally call the primary receiving zone. This is where the raw material arrives from its points of origin, transported in refrigerated containers that maintain specific humidity and temperature conditions throughout the entire journey. Lion leather, before becoming the flawless surface that will eventually form part of a handbag valued on the secondary market at over $40,000, arrives at this zone in a state that would be completely unrecognizable to any end consumer. It is raw material in its most crude form, subjected to a first process of visual and tactile inspection carried out by technicians with years of experience in the classification of exotic hides. Each piece is weighed, measured, photographed from multiple angles, and catalogued in an inventory management system that assigns a unique code to every single unit. That code will travel with it throughout its entire journey along the production line, enabling complete traceability of the process. What sets lion leather apart from any other exotic material used in the luxury leather goods industry is its intrinsic structure. The dermis of a lion presents a collagen fiber density that is significantly higher than that of bovines or even other felines. This density gives it extraordinary mechanical resistance, but it also creates specific technical challenges during the tanning process that force artisans to use techniques and chemical formulations that are not applied to any other type of hide. Thickness varies considerably depending on the anatomical zone of origin, and this variability is precisely what makes the initial selection work so critical. A mistake at this stage can compromise the integrity of entire pieces at later stages of the process, with financial losses that none of the companies operating in this segment are willing to accept. The soaking and cleaning zone is the next point in the chain. Here, the classified pieces are placed into large stainless steel vats containing aqueous solutions with compositions that vary by batch. The objective of this stage is to rehydrate the skin fibers, which have lost moisture during transport and storage, and to eliminate residues of blood, surface fat, and any other organic contaminant that could interfere with the chemical processes that follow. The vats are equipped with mechanical agitation systems that guarantee uniform distribution of the solution across the entire surface of the hide. The duration of this phase ranges between 8 and 20 hours, depending on the initial condition of the material and the final texture targets defined for each production batch. Workers in this section wear complete personal protective equipment, including long nitrile gloves, safety goggles, and waterproof aprons. The combination of chemicals used at this point in the process is highly effective, and the safety protocol governing their handling allows absolutely no exceptions. Once the soaking phase is complete, the hides move to the dehairing and fleshing section. This is, without question, one of the most visually striking stages of the entire production process. Fleshing machines are large-format pieces of equipment fitted with toothed steel rollers that operate at precisely calibrated speeds to remove the layer of subcutaneous fatty tissue without compromising the integrity of the dermis. The sound these machines produce is constant, deep and rhythmic, and the sight of hides passing through the rollers is as fascinating as it is unsettling for anyone witnessing it for the first time. The residues generated at this stage are collected in specific containers and processed separately, as a portion of them is destined for the byproduct industry for the production of technical gelatin and industrial lubricants. Nothing in this factory goes to waste. Efficiency is not just a matter of economic profitability, it is also an operational philosophy that permeates every decision made throughout the production chain. The tanning process is the heart of the entire operation. It is the stage that determines, more than any other, the final characteristics of the leather in terms of softness, resistance, elasticity, and behavior under humidity and heat. These facilities use two tanning methods in sequential combination. The first phase employs trivalent chrome salts, the most widely used tanning agent in the global industry for its effectiveness and the speed with which it stabilizes collagen fibers. The hides remain in the tanning drums for periods that can exceed 24 hours, subjected to a chemical bath in constant rotation that guarantees uniform penetration of the tanning agent all the way to the deepest layers of the dermis. The result of this first tanning is what technicians call wet blue, a blue-toned moist hide with a dimensional stability that makes it ready for the finishing processes that follow. The second tanning phase uses plant-based extracts of natural origin, primarily tannins, derived from quebracho bark and mimosa. This complementary vegetable tanning contributes very particular organoleptic characteristics to the final leather, especially in terms of touch and scent, which are precisely the attributes that luxury handbag buyers instinctively identify as markers of supreme quality. The vegetable retanning process is slower than chrome tanning, but the artisans working in this factory consider this step to be the one that truly defines the identity of the final product. It cannot be accelerated. It cannot be replicated with technological shortcuts. It is one of those points in the process where time is literally an active ingredient. After tanning, the hides enter the splitting and shaving section. Shaving machines are micrometric precision instruments that reduce hide thickness to uniform values specified for each end-use application. A handbag requires a different thickness than a belt or an upholstery piece, and these differences, measurable in tenths of a millimeter, have a direct impact on the mechanical behavior of the product throughout its useful life. The technicians who operate the shaving machines have years of experience calibrating the cutting parameters, and their work is evaluated with precision calipers before any batch is authorized to move to the next stage of the chain. Were you aware that the thickness of a luxury handbag is controlled with this level of precision? Had you ever imagined that behind an apparently simple surface, there exists this degree of engineering? The dyeing and fat liquoring phase definitively transforms the appearance of the material. The hides, still carrying the neutral coloration from the tanning process, enter the dyeing drums, where penetrating colorants are applied that reach the entire cross-section of the dermis. The colors used in the production of luxury handbags are not the ones found in standard industry catalogs. They are proprietary formulations developed exclusively for each client brand, registered and protected with the same intensity with which a pharmaceutical company protects the formula of a high-value medication. After dyeing comes fat liquoring, the application of blends of natural oils and fats that restore to the hide the internal lubrication lost during the previous chemical processes, and that are responsible for that unmistakable feeling of softness and nourishment that high-quality leather has when touched by someone who knows what they are touching. Surface finishing is the last major transformation phase before the material reaches the manufacturing workshops. Here, lacquers, surface pigments, waxes, and water-repellent treatments are applied using pneumatic spray guns and ironing presses with textured surfaces that can imprint on the leather the most varied finishes, from smooth satin to fine grain that mimics the natural textures of alternative exotic hides. Every piece goes through a final visual inspection under raking light that reveals any imperfection not detected in earlier stages. Approved pieces are individually packaged in non-woven fabric covers and stored under controlled conditions until they're dispatched to the manufacturing workshops, which in many cases are located in Europe, in regions with centuries-old artisanal traditions in luxury leather goods. The final result of this entire process is a material that has very little in common with its starting point. The transformation that takes place inside these facilities is total, radical, and deeply technical. It is proof that luxury in its purest form is not just aesthetics. It is engineering applied to perfection. It is precision chemistry. It is the silent work of people who have dedicated their lives to mastering a craft that the world never sees but touches with its hands every time it opens a handbag worth more than a car. Now that you have seen everything, from the rawest raw material all the way to the finished material ready to become a globally desired object, we want to know what impacted you the most about this process. Leave your answer in the comments. The level of chemical control, the precision of the machines, the number of stages behind a single handbag, every comment matters, and we read all of them.